And that there's the exact amount of the Star Wars theme I can play before I get copyright claimed. Thank you, Disney. But anyway, today we're going to be looking at one of the most iconic MMORPGs that was ever released, and that is of course Star Wars Galaxies. So popular was this game that in the first year of release, no one even mentioned World of Warcraft, mainly because World of Warcraft hadn't been released yet.
Oh my god, that was so funny!
Haha, made it funny. This game is 20 years old. It was released back in 2003 for those of you who can't do maths. And yet, despite its age, it's got some of the most innovative mechanics I've ever seen in an MMORPG. In fact, it's so inspiring, it's listed as one of the influences behind Ashes of Creation. But sadly, this game ran into a few technical issues which it struggled to recover from, and that was them putting the plug on the game and shutting down the servers, and this was back in 2011. However, 5 days after the shutdown of the servers, Star Wars The Old Republic was released. This meant fans of Star Wars Galaxies had no other choice but to move on to this new MMO or try something different, like WoW. Fast forward to the present day, and there's been several attempts to revitalise Star Wars Galaxies with private servers, and a lot of it's been hindered by the fact that you had to have an old copy of the game or go pirate it from somewhere. However, with Star Wars Restoration, they offer you the game for free as well as access to the servers, which means a common pleb like myself can finally play Star Wars Galaxies and see what the hype was all about. So with that, let's take a look at Star Wars Galaxies in 2023, and is it worth playing? Oh, and before I forget, if you like this sort of content and you want to see more of it, feel free to subscribe to my channel. You can always unsubscribe later. Okay, let's start with the basics then. Star Wars Galaxy is an open world Star Wars themed MMORPG. It has that classic tab targeting combat with a variety of skills that can be placed on your abilities bar. When you first start, you'll have to choose from 7 different professions, and you'll have a limited amount of skill points to put into each one of them. And what this essentially means is that you can't be a master of all the professions. You're going to have to work together with other players to achieve your goals. Maybe you don't pick up armor crafting and your friend does, or maybe you become a chef and your friend doesn't. What this means for the social aspect of this game is that players are willing to talk to each other to get help. It actually brings back the fundamentals of an MMO, which is, you know, massively multiplayer and online, so you have to work together with other players. I mean, what were they thinking? Being social in an MMO? Now, a fun fact about the Star Wars Restoration server is that you're only allowed 1 account per person, and that account has only 2 character slots. There are several species to choose from, and each species has its own special attributes, which usually match up to a particular profession. So what I'm trying to say is, when creating your character, do not just choose a species because you think it looks cute or it's your favourite sort of species. I cannot stress this enough. That's my Chewbacca impression. I think it's pretty good. I have to go a Wookiee. If you're not going a Wookiee, what are you doing? Yes, I know I'm a fucking idiot. But anyway. For a game that is 20 years old, I was actually quite surprised at how in-depth the character creation was. And what I find is when I do go to create a character for any game, I try and make a reflection of myself because I want to be totally immersed in it. And if I can look at this character and go, yes, that's me, then it makes me feel more in touch with the MMO. I think he looks beautiful. Perfection. Wookiees are known to be fearsome warriors, both in melee combat and ranged. So naturally, I was drawn to one profession and one profession only. And that was, of course, entertainer.
Backpacks, got jets, well I'm Boba, got back, well I bounty hunt for Java Hut to finance my bed.
So yeah, essentially you can dance and play instruments for money. Players can tip you, and the more you perform, the more you level up. So I thought this could be a fun thing to do. And, you know, Wookiees, why not? You know, let's break down some barriers here. Oh my god! Thank you. I just got a big tip. I got money. Look, 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 look. He gave me 10,000 credits for dancing. Fuck you, whoever said I couldn't dance. I'm a dancer. Yeah, I'm a dancer now, Stabs. I'm a dancer. It literally pays to dance. Sadly though, due to the age of the game, it had a very old school approach to questing. It's very, let's just say it's not very immersive. For example, one of the entertainer missions I had was to go to a party, dance for 5 minutes, yes that's real time 5 minutes, and then ask for some information, and then leave and go back. So a fetch quest with a wait time, you might say. And don't get me wrong, modern day MMOs aren't exactly much better, but to literally stand still for 10 minutes and do nothing, it didn't feel like it was respecting my time as much as it should. And that was the other thing I noticed about the game. It seemed to take quite a long time to do stuff. Like, it was a proper old school MMO in the sense of everything seemed to be a grind, which to be fair, some people really enjoy. So, you know, if you like your MMOs particularly grindy, this is the one for you. As for the new player experience, let me put it this way. I played WoW Classic Hardcore for the first time this year, and that was a lot simpler and easier to understand than Star Wars Galaxies. And the funny thing is, there's only a year apart between World of Warcraft and SWG, and yet WoW was a lot more user-friendly. Which is kind of weird considering how many unique selling points this game has, and yet when it comes to the fundamentals, it didn't quite live up to the standard that people have come to expect when it comes to MMOs. I feel bad being critical about a game which is over 20 years old. If anything, the more I look into it, the more inspiring this title really was. It had so much in it which other MMOs to this day do not do on this sort of level. It had player housing, it had player cities, it had an in-depth crafting system, it had player economy, it had space combat, PvP, beast mastery, it had a variety of mounts, and not just mounts that you can ride, other people can also ride, and you even had the ability to go on a secret quest to become a Jedi. And as much as I might have mocked the entertainer profession, it was a great combination of roleplay and actual practicality within an MMO. You didn't have to go and be a sweat, you could just literally live in the environment and still have a use. And there's numerous other professions that allowed you to do this. And then teamed this up with a very social player base, and it was almost the perfect MMO. But that's the problem with perfection. It is something that is rarely ever achieved. And on the surface, Star Wars Galaxies seemed to tick all the right boxes, but in reality, it had a lot of problems. It wasn't like there was one thing that killed Star Wars Galaxies, it was multiple fuck-ups which eventually led to the downfall of this title. And as much as I'd love to milk the algorithm and make a 2-hour feature film telling you each individual thing which killed this game, I just don't have the ability to do it. I don't think I'm even qualified enough. So what I would suggest is check out Nerd Slayer Studios' video on Death of a Game Star Wars Galaxies, because it covers it off really well. Fundamentally for me, there was one thing that drew me to this game, and one thing that made me want to go ahead and play it just to see what it's all about, and that is of course the Star Wars lore. It's Chewbacca and the other guy. Oh my god. Oh my god, that is literally... Oh wow. Oh wow, look, it just spawned in. Oh wow, let's get the full tour here. Look at it, man. Darth Vader's here! It's Darth Vader! What the fuck? Why is Darth Vader on the planet? Oh my god. Yes, I am part of your crew. I know some people will interpret my oh wows as me being sarcastic, but I was generally taken back. We're so lucky in this day and age with the additional stories in the Star Wars universe, the spin-off shows, the additional games that are out there, which allow you to get more immersed in this universe. But to think back 20 years ago, and they dropped this bombshell of a fucking MMO where you can make your own character and see all the lore in all its glory, but not only that, you can share it with other like-minded players. I still find it bizarre that this got shut down in the way that it did. It's almost criminal. I'm fully aware that I'm probably looking at this game through rose-tinted glasses, and that is because I am a Star Wars fan. And if you want to know what sort of fan I am, well, my favourite movie is Rogue One. Feel free to agree with me in the comments section below. But even without the glasses on, I can tell that there's something special about this title. It's not just another generic MMO loosely associated to some big IP or franchise. It actually felt like a unique player experience. So even if you're not a Star Wars fan, and especially if you are one, you need to check this game out, because I think it might surprise you in terms of like just how endearing it can be. And with that final thought, I'll end the video here. But hopefully you've enjoyed what you've seen. Hopefully I've done the game some justice. And by all means, check out the description below if you want to know more about the Star Wars Galaxy Restoration project. And with that, I'll catch you in the next one. Bye bye for now.